good evening. This is BK International Talent Scout of BK Presents, and I'm coming to you with a short communication with you. I'm going to send this out and share it with a couple of groups. Then I'll message it to some of my friends, and I will post this on a few timelines of my friends and family. So today's short talk is about the church is in a spiritual battle. The church is in a spiritual battle. So, like last March, when the pandemic was officially declared, to be honest with you, we were probably in a pandemic or headed toward a pandemic in December of 2019. In January or February, they started talking about masks. A word was sent out that no one needed masks because they were trying to gather up all the masks from all the companies for the hospitals. That was false communication. That was misdirection. I have to let you know also that we were in the beginning stages of a pandemic during the Super Bowl. However, they did not want to cancel the Super Bowl, so they went ahead with the Super Bowl. Then the first soccer game that was played all over the nation with the Major League Soccer League, they also knew about the pandemic, just to let you know. But in March or February or March, a word came out that said, just go home and be with your family. I mean, that was the weirdest national message I ever heard. It was put out, just go home and be with your family. I kind of thought about that. I said, that is a strange message. And then it began to come out what we were facing. And so the first spiritual battle of the church during this pandemic was that the church was not classified as an essential place. That was the first battle of the church, that it was not classified as an essential place. Grocery stores, going to the gas station, those were essential needs. Then all over the nation, offices just shut down. It was incredible. A lot of offices shut down all across the nation. Major companies shut their offices down and people had to work from home. The only people that were actually working on sites were essential workers. Hospitals, grocery stores, gas stations, those type of jobs, basic service jobs, those were considered essential. And then the fight began because it was made known that the church was not essential. So in Washington State, Gary Inslee allowed churches to have a small team of singers and speakers to go in, record their service, and share it on Facebook or YouTube or whatever social media platform they used. A lot of churches were scrambling. Some churches didn't have the technology or means to broadcast to the congregation, so a lot of people were using conference calls to keep their church ministry developing. Those that kind of had technology. A lot of the major churches were able to broadcast well because they had the equipment. There are a few churches in Seattle who had equipment, who had cameras, who had technology savvy people, were able to get their message and their singing out. So the second thing that happened is the people needed food. And the good part was the government and other agencies sent major food boxes to churches. Now, check this out. Prior to 2019, how many churches had a ministry of giving out food? I would say there was less than 10 to 20% churches had a food outreach ministry. It was not commonplace. The church became relevant because they were used as distribution sites. But still, the church was not considered a essential place. So then a lot of churches would try like to have a church in their parking lot or church outside, church on the telephone prayer line. A lot of churches were really struggling. Now it's interesting. I remember this video call on YouTube that Dr. Jamal Bryant gave. There's a lady out of Atlanta. She worked for Facebook, and they had this big meeting with like major churches in Atlanta and everybody. And it was kind of like a YouTube or Facebook meeting. And she was giving people ideas how to reach their congregation and using the Facebook platform and using social media. So immediately, Dr. Jamal Bryant, he began to air his church service from different places in Atlanta. It would be his praise team. He was the speaker, his camera crew. They went all over Atlanta, and they began to do their services. TD Jakes had a small team, his praise team, and himself, they were going to the sanctuary and do their church service. Then I had a dream and in the dream, the Lord told me the church is in a spiritual battle. And right now, the church is in a spiritual battle because there's just something going on, right? Something is going on because people were separated. People couldn't come and congregate. It was like really weird to like having to watch your church on YouTube or having to watch your church on Facebook or whatever social media platform there was. The battle became more intense because people couldn't come together. Some churches haven't come together. Some churches lost their building. The stronger churches that had strong media platforms, they were just like, hey, come join my church. Become an member of my church. Yeah, man, it was like crazy. Like the major churches that like had a strong social media platform, they just start gathering up members from all over the nation. So it was intensified as things began to intensify and change due to the pandemic. It was clear to me that the church was in a spiritual battle. I think the one thing that made the battle start is making the church non-essential. So the reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you to pray for your church and any church leader, that God will open doors, that God will do the things that need to be done to keep congregations together, to keep spiritual leadership encouraged. If your church can meet, I hope you guys meet safely. And I had to do this here, and I wanted to give you some background. So then when the election came around, the churches were used as polling sites. That was like really cool. And then the next thing that came around was the vaccine. So the church is split down the middle. Some people think you should take the vaccine. Some people think that you should not take the vaccines. Those are the two sides, right? Now, I grew up, and I was talking to some of my friends. I grew up in the era that when we had polio shots, we had measles shots, we had chickenpox shots. We were little, man. They just lined us up, and it kept us healthy. The vaccine is designed to help you fight back. The vaccine is designed to help you fight back. There's some people saying, don't take it, don't take it. Now the vaccine is 100% approved by the FDA. So please consider getting a vaccine shot. So there are major churches across the nation that have been selected to be vaccine places where people can go safely and get a vaccine shot. So I had to do this post because the church is still in the spiritual battle. And I didn't even, oh my God, I didn't even talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, right? I didn't even go deep into that. I'm just hitting some points because I don't want to repeat myself. Then there was the Black Lives Matter movement that was going on. Man, the protesting was really, really, really something to see. A whole nation, the whole world stood up and said, stop killing Black people because Black Lives Matters. So I'm doing this here, and I'm sharing with you to pray for your church, to pray for your church leaders, to encourage your pastors. The thing that has been so interesting to me, that God bless praise and worship teams all over the nation. They went in strong, y'all. The praise and worship teams all over the nation, they went in strong. Oh my God. What are some of the favorite praise and worship teams? You know who they are. God put a special blessing on praise and worship teams all over the nation, man. They went in, they do their singing and praising and worshiping, and then the pastors come in and do their speaking. So this is my short 15-minute presentation. The church is in a spiritual battle, part 1. I'll be back with part 2. I had to give you some background information. I'll be back with part 2. This is Bk International Talent Scout. The church is in a spiritual battle.